Stop making your music sound like this. It's too clean and digital. No weight, movement, nor grit. Now listen to this. In the 90s, music didn't sound like this by choice. It sounded like this because audio passed through real hardware. Analog consoles, outboard EQs, and compressors, tape machines, samplers, all of that added subtle imperfections and randomness that gave the music life. In the digital world, we've gained clarity and precision, but we've lost some of that character. Everything is stable, clean, and a bit too perfect. So in this video, I'm going to show you how we can emulate that sound in the digital domain to bring some life back into the music. Nothing replaces real analog gear, but not everyone has access to expensive hardware. The good news is that today's tools can get us surprisingly close to that classic analog character. I'll walk you through 5 techniques you can use on drums, bass, breaks, and even your mix bus to add warmth, grit, and movement. I'll be using Brainworks' new tool, 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘, to demonstrate this, but the ideas apply no matter what tools you use. The concept is what matters. That said, 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘 is designed specifically for this kind of processing. It's fast, musical, and intuitive. You're not buried in parameters. You find a sound you like, tweak just 1 or 2 controls, you're good. To learn more about 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘𝗙, click the link down below. All right, let's get into it. The idea here is to run audio through a chain that mirrors how jungle and early drum and bass was processed in the 90s, where sound naturally passed through hardware on its way to a tape or sampler. In the 90s, this kind of coloration wasn't a creative choice. It was just part of the signal path. So this is what the signal chain looks like. First off, an EQ. Preferably a console-style EQ with analog modeling. If you don't have one like that, that's okay. We'll introduce character in the next stage. The goal of the EQ here isn't precision. It's to gently excite certain parts of the frequency spectrum using broad musical curves. Next, we run the EQ into saturation. Order matters because saturation reacts differently depending on what frequencies you've emphasized. This stage adds harmonic content, warmth, and subtle grit rather than obvious distortion. And then we add compression. Compression then shapes the dynamics and helps glue everything together. Used gently means the sound feels like it's breathing rather than being squashed. Additional processes we can add into the chain include bit reduction. This can be used to subtly introduce a lo-fi edge and emulate some of the digital limitations of early samplers used in the 90s. Then we can apply drift, which introduces very small, slow variations in pitch and level. This mimics the micro instability of tape machines, old samplers, and analog electronics, giving the sound a more organic, lived-in feel. All right, the fun part, adding that analog processing on old school jungle breaks for that 90s sound. So recently, I was having a chat with my friend 𝗙𝗔𝗩𝗘 about a 𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗡 remix of an old school 𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗡 track. And he said that the reason it sounded so good is because all that stuff at that time was being done at Trinity Studios. They had a crazy big console like an SSL or a Neve, something stupid fancy for jungle production. Because they were making music in there all the time, they just left the channels on the desk EQ'd and set up for specific breaks on the sampler. And that's life. Oh, you're using the Soul Pride break? That's channel 19. Nobody touched any of the knobs. It just sounded good right into the mixer. Here's another quote he sent me from Gearspace from someone notable who had connections with some old school drum and bass producers. And he mentioned that most producers preferred using something a little cheaper, most notably the Mackie 8 bus. A big plus for the Mackies were the pre's. Not that they were good, but that the way they distorted when cranked just sounded perfect for B-lines, vocal samples, and breaks. And then he goes along to talk about the standardized EQs for particular breaks on specific channels of the mixer. And I certainly tried this trick back in the day when I had a smaller Mackie mixer. boosting the gains on my breaks on some specific productions. And I'll leave a link below for this post on Gearspace. There's a few tidbits of helpful information if you want to replicate that authentic 90s jungle sound. And shouts out to 𝗙𝗪𝗡𝗙𝗢 for this tip and inspiration. Make sure to check out his back catalog on the internet. So immediately after that chat, by coincidence, the good people at Brainworks sent me a copy of BX Tone Box, which was created specifically to emulate this process and sound. So let's try this on some fresh breaks I recently received from the mighty 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗘𝗘 from his Senkasonic Breaks pack. You can find that on his Bandcamp. This is the break. And mind you, this break already sounds really good as is. 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗘𝗘 added his own personal techniques and processing to make these breaks fresh. However, he also allowed some room for the user to interpret and adjust to their liking. So let's add that console EQ to emulate that 90s vibe. And then we're going to add drive, and this time I'm going to use a 2 pentode. Make it sound nice and crunchy, and adding back some compression in the mix. From here on in, we can add additional effects to emulate old school tape recordings. We can introduce drift, which adds subtle variations to pitch and volume. At intense settings, you'll hear something like this. But obviously, we want it subtle, so we'll adjust the frequency rate and then the amount. Not really supposed to notice it. It's more subconscious, but this adds more of that movement and old school analog character, and we can move that up here. Then to emulate 90s samplers, we can introduce bit reduction with the circuit console, bringing down the sample rate to 22 kilohertz and the bit depth to 12 bits. Bringing that all the way at the top of the signal chain. Because this shaves off some of the top end, you may want to add an additional EQ to bring that top back in. We can do that by introducing a tilt EQ or bell at a higher frequency range. Adjusting the level so we have apples to apples. Let's increase the intensity. Love that analog crunch. All right, let's try the process on some classic breaks. Here's the Cold Sweat break by James Brown, completely unprocessed. Now imagine this break was living inside a studio in the 90s like Trinity in the UK, permanently routed through a console channel EQ that's already been shaped for it. We're going to apply broad musical moves the same way a jungle producer would back in the 90s. The goal here isn't to over EQ, it's to make the break immediately sound familiar, punchy, and ready to work with. Now let's add some drive, and this time I'm going to use the 2 pentode, which sounds a bit more crunchier. Adding some dynamics. And then let's add a compressor to control the dynamics. Let's add some drift to introduce some micro instability, emulating a tape recording. Producers in the 90s were often using samplers such as the Akai S1000, where you can lower the sample rate and bit depth. So let's bring down the sample rate and bit depth. That's sounding super crunchy. Finally, let's add some vinyl noise to make it sound like we're sampling it off an old dirty record. We'll put that at the top. And that's sounding super nasty. Straight off an old 90s jungle record. Let's play with the intensity. That is sounding nasty. Before. After. Loving that old school 90s sound. And of course, we're going to apply this onto an 𝗙𝗏𝗡 break. So here's the 𝗙𝗏𝗡 break before. Let's increase the intensity. One of the questions I get asked the most is how do you make your sub bass more punchy and warm? Here's a sub bass. It's a simple 808 preset without tone box. Now that's not bad, but let's add the console EQ to boost that low end. And then add some drive into that mix. And instantly that sub bass sounds more present. Let's try increasing the intensity. Tasty. Here's all the elements before. Does your drum track sound like individual one-shot hits, a little robotic and lifeless? This is where saturation and compression can add a little more life to your robotic individual hits. So here's my drum track with individual one-shot drum hits. So grouping the kick, snare, and hi-hat into a drum group, I've added BX tone box here. The first step is to add an EQ, and I'm choosing the console EQ, which is based off an old school analog mixing console. And the frequency settings for each one of these EQ bands here are fixed. And this is designed by intention to remove overthinking. So all you have to do is increase or adjust the parameters until you hear something nice. Let's start with the low end. Increase the mids, and then let's increase some high-end excitement. Next, we're going to run that EQ into some saturation. So we're going to add this drive module and then increase the amount to taste. Now there's different saturation models here. They all sound quite nice, but I'm liking 𝗙𝗢𝗘𝗘. If you want a little more dynamic to your drive, increasing this will add more drive to those louder peaks. And then we're going to add the compressor. And there's 5 different compressor types here. The compressor settings here are baked in also to remove overthinking. So as you increase the amount, the settings adjust accordingly to the signal. Let's increase the movement parameter to introduce subtle variations of the intensity of each effect here. This one mimic analog hardware, which isn't completely uniform. We can also scale the amount of all the effects by using this intensity knob. Sounds much more alive, and that's thanks to the saturation and compression. Notice the drums sound like they're breathing now. If you listen to the hi-hat, it no longer sounds like a constant robotic ticker. It breathes in and out because the compressor is responding to the signal as the kick and snare comes in and out. Let's add a similar processing chain to our mid bass to add more life to that bass. This time I'm using the Aura model for the drive, which is great for bass. For synth and bass sounds, sometimes it's nice to add a layer of noise on top, and that adds a bit of analog grit. And we can move that noise layer up at the top of the chain. Let's use the British console line and make it follow the audio signal. Change the tone a bit. High pass it, bring it down a bit. Here it is with the drums. All right, let's bring it all home with one more example. Here's a drum track with individual drum hits. Adding BX tone box. Let's increase the intensity. So it's much more alive and like a single drum track. Now we're going to apply 𝗙𝗘𝗘𝗙𝗪 to a sub bass, borrowing a trick pioneered by Dillinja, which is adding a layer of noise on top of your sub bass and then distorting the signal. So here's the sub bass, adding a tube amp noise on top, and then distorting the signal with a tube pentode. The combination of that noise and distortion really adds some grit to that bass. You may want to play with the tone and high pass that noise. Now here's a really cool trick to add an old school wobble to that sub bass. Introduce the drift effect. Reminds me of old school Joker records. And then we can add some compression to the end of that chain and play with the intensity. Sounds really nasty. And with the drums, now, one final trick. With the drums, you may want the dynamics and transients to be intact, because when you're driving and compressing that signal, you might lose some of that tax on the drums. So going back into the drum group here, we have that BX tone. Click on the effect and group it, which is Control-Command-G, and just click this button here to expand. And we can add a dry chain here by right-clicking. We name this as dry. We can bring the BX tone down to 0. So we have now two signal passes, the dry tone and then the BX tone box. And now we can dial in the amount of the BX tone box over the dry signal. This allows us to preserve the dynamics of those single hit drums while adding that analog warmth. It is the track with a Hoover, a design with the Prophet 5V, also adding some BX tone box. And we haven't even talked about adding BX tone box on top of your master, but we won't go there just yet today. I suggest if you play around with it to be subtle on the master, it's really about adding coloration and vibe on top. So a lot of cool ways you can apply this signal chain onto your tracks, whether you want to do it to your drum group, your bass, or your mix. This final trick I was talking about here with the dry wet mix is called parallel processing. This allows us to preserve the original character of those drums. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to add that analog grit back into your music. Remember the chain, which is adding some EQ followed by saturation and compression. Then you can add other additional processes such as bit reduction, drift, and even a layer of noise to add a little more character to that sound. Remember to experiment. These are just guidelines, not rules. You can even play with adjusting the order of the effects or adding additional effects on top that we haven't even spoken about in this video. Try applying these techniques no matter what genre you create. You'll be surprised at the results. And remember, if you want to try out BX Tone Box, you can learn more down in the links below. My name is 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗢𝗢, music producer of over 25 years with releases on Metalheadz, Hospital Records, and Critical Music. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to support this channel directly, check out deviantaudio.com for sample packs, preset packs, and Ableton kits to help you along your journey. You can learn more down in the links below. If you want to see more drum and bass drum programming videos, check this playlist up here. To see more jungle production videos, check this playlist up here. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And until the next video, stay creative and peace out.